Hi there, welcome, sleepless history friend. This is where power, money, and the hidden face of history meet. Close your eyes, lean back comfortably, and let this story take you, because tonight I'm going to tell you a story about the oldest route of the credit card in your pocket, the banking app on your phone, even your digital wallet. I am Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Knights Templar, and on that cold March day in 1314, before being chained to a stake and burned alive in Paris, I'll tell you the true logic of money, power, and faith. But first, think about it. Right now, you have a phone in your hand. With one touch, you send money. With another touch, you receive money. Have you ever thought where this system came from? Who invented this magic? Who said, money doesn't have to be physical. Money can be a promise, a document, a belief. The answer is simple, but nobody knows. 9 men. The year 1119. In the dusty streets of Jerusalem, 9 poor knights. That's where it all began. The beginning, 9 men, and a dream. Let me paint you a picture. The year 1099, Jerusalem fell. The first crusade ended successfully, and from every corner of Europe, rich and poor, young and old, thousands of Christians were flocking to see the land where Jesus was crucified. Imagine you're in the Middle Ages. You've never left your village in your entire life. One morning you wake up and decide, I'm going to see the Holy Land. This is a matter of dreams, hope, faith. You take all your savings, maybe 50 gold coins, maybe 100, maybe your entire fortune, and you set out. You depart from Paris. The sea voyage takes months. Disease on the ship, storms, fear. But finally, you reach the warm waters of the Mediterranean. You set foot at the port, and now the land journey begins. That's where the real problem started. Those roads, those cursed, dusty, dangerous roads, were full of bandits, robbers, thieves, waiting in ambush at every corner. A group of pilgrims passes by. They're carrying gold, silver, jewels, someone's 2-year savings, someone's entire fortune, and then a forest, a silence, an attack. In 10 minutes, a family's entire savings disappears. Bodies are left by the roadside, and word of the robbery spreads to other bandits. 3 more pilgrim groups coming this week. Be ready. This wasn't just an individual tragedy. This was an economic disaster, because pilgrims brought tons of gold to the eastern Mediterranean economy every year. This money went to craftsmen, merchants, inns, markets. An entire economy was built on this pilgrim flow, and as money was lost on the road, the economy was hemorrhaging. We 9 men, Hugues de Peons, and 8 brothers in arms, came together in Jerusalem in 1119, and we said, we're going to solve this problem. Our official story was simple. We'll protect the pilgrims' armed road security, God's soldiers, protectors of travelers. But the truth was a bit more complicated, because we weren't just offering protection, we were looking for something. King Baldwin II of Jerusalem gave us a place on Temple Mount, upon the ruins of Solomon's temple, those sacred land, thousands of years of history, lost treasures, forgotten knowledge. Some would call us archaeologists, some treasure hunters, some heretics, but we called ourselves the poor fellow soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon. We took a vow of poverty. Our emblem shows 2 knights riding a single horse, because we couldn't even afford a second horse. Isn't it ironic? The men who would build the richest organization in world history, initially sharing a single horse. The daily life of a warrior monk. Now let me tell you something most people don't know. What was it like to be a Templar? To live our life, every day began before sunrise, before the first light touched the horizon. We gathered in the chapel for matins, the first prayer of the day, in darkness, in silence. Our day was governed by the canonical hours. 8 times a day we prayed. Prime at dawn, terce at mid-morning, sext at noon, none in the afternoon, vespers at sunset, compline before sleep, even in military camps, even on the battlefield. We observed these hours. We were monks first, warriors second. After morning prayers, we gathered in the refectory for breakfast. Bread and wine, sometimes broth. We ate in complete silence. One brother would read aloud from scripture while the others ate. No conversation, no laughter, just the word of God. Our meals were simple. Meat was restricted to 3 times per week. On Fridays, we fasted. During Lent, even stricter fasting. We wore simple white mantles with a red cross. No decorations, no adornments, no pointy shoes. That was actually in our rules. We couldn't gamble, couldn't swear, couldn't drink excessively. We couldn't even kiss our own mothers or sisters. Complete separation from women. Our vows were absolute. Poverty, chastity, obedience. We owned nothing, not even our horses, not even our swords. Everything belonged to the order. When a man joined us, he signed over all his wealth, all his property, everything, to the order, forever. Disobedience was severely punished. A brother who violated the rule could face penance, imprisonment, or expulsion. We trained every day. Hours of martial practice, horseback riding, swordsmanship, archery, formation drills. We fought in organized ranks. Breaking formation was forbidden. Our strength wasn't an individual skill, it was in our unity, our discipline. When we charged into battle, we moved as one. A wall of white mantles and red crosses, terrifying, unstoppable. Saladin, the great Muslim commander, once said, "I would release 100 ordinary knights, but I would execute one Templar." Why? Because he knew we didn't retreat, we didn't surrender, we didn't break. Our rules stated clearly, we could not retreat unless outnumbered 3 to 1, and even then, only if commanded by our superior, or if our flag fell. Otherwise, we fought to the death. But here's what most people don't understand. Most Templars never saw battle. Out of our entire order, thousands of members, only about 10% were actual fighting knights. The rest? Farmers, accountants, administrators, bankers. We managed vast estates, farms, vineyards, mills, workshops. In England alone, we had over 40 properties. In France, hundreds more. Every Templar house was self-sufficient. We grew our own food, made our own wine, raised our own livestock, and every house sent its surplus to the central treasury. This network, this vast, interconnected network, became the foundation of something much bigger, something revolutionary. The Pope's signature, power, and immunity in 1129. Everything changed. Pope Innocent II officially recognized us. And he didn't just recognize us, he gave us privileges. Such privileges that if you heard them today, you wouldn't believe it. First, tax exemption. We wouldn't pay taxes in any country, any kingdom. Not to kings, not to local lords, not to anyone. Second, judicial immunity. No court could judge us. No local authority could arrest us. We were above the law. Third, the right to answer to no one but the Pope. Not kings, not princes, not bishops. Only the Pope. Wait a minute. You really need to understand this. You're living in the Middle Ages. Kings have absolute power. If a king says die, you die. If he says give, you give. If he says shut up, you shut up. But now there's an organization that can say no to the king. Can say we don't answer to you. We only answer to the Pope. You know what that means? It means you can cross borders freely. You can transport goods, transport money, transport information. Nobody touches you. Nobody investigates. Nobody demands taxes. This is a license. The Middle Ages unlimited credit card, and we used this license to the fullest. We built a network that stretched from Scotland to Jerusalem, from Portugal to Cyprus. Nearly 1,000 commanderies and fortifications across Europe and the Holy Land. At every major city, we had a Templar house, fortified, defended by trained soldiers, built by skilled engineers. These weren't just churches, they were fortresses. The Temple Church in London, still standing today, has walls 3 feet thick, designed to withstand siege because we didn't just store prayers, we stored gold. The first check, one of history's greatest inventions. One day, an ordinary day, when the sun was overhead, a pilgrim came to our headquarters in Jerusalem. A middle-aged man, drenched in sweat, covered in dust. He had a bag in his hand, his entire fortune inside. He looked at me, fear, exhaustion, despair in his eyes. "Master," he said, "I have 100 gold coins. I brought them all the way from Paris, but now I'm going back and I'm scared. I'm afraid of being robbed on the road. I'm afraid of being killed. What can I do?" That moment, that single question, changed the course of history. I looked straight at him and I said, "Give me your gold. I'll give you an encrypted letter. When you arrive in Paris, show this letter to our brothers there. They'll give you your gold." The man looked at me like he thought I was crazy. "But how can I trust?" he said. I leaned forward. I lowered my voice. "Because," I said, "we are God's soldiers, the Pope's protectors. Carrying gold this way is safer. You travel in peace. Walk light, sleep well. We protect your money." The man thought. He looked at the bag, looked at me, looked at his bag again, and then he handed it over. We took the gold, counted it, recorded it. Every single coin. In our ledger's 8 pages of parchment, we wrote, "Received from name, 100 gold coins. Date, location, witness." And then we gave him him a document. This document wasn't ordinary paper. It was written with special inks. It contained encrypted codes based on a cipher alphabet using symbols from the Maltese cross. 25 symbols representing the letters of the alphabet. Couldn't be counterfeited, couldn't be faked. It had our seals, our marks, symbols only we could understand. The man took that document, put it in his purse, and set off. Light, safe, free. 3 months later, he arrived in Paris, came to the Paris temple, showed the document. Our brothers examined the document, decoded the ciphers, checked the records with the Jerusalem house, and gave the man his 100 gold coins. Exactly 100, not 99, not 101. Exactly what he had deposited. The man wept with joy. His money was safe. His trust was rewarded. Right then, we invented it. Maybe we didn't even realize we were changing history. Money no longer had to be physical. Money could be a promise, could be a document, could be trust. And trust. If trust is controlled, money is controlled. If money is controlled, the world is controlled. The moment of realization, the secret of money, but the story didn't end there, because we noticed something. Some pilgrims didn't spend all their gold. For example, a man comes, deposits 100 gold coins, goes to Jerusalem, withdraws 60 gold, comes back, withdraws 20 more gold, and 20 gold remain in his account. He says, I'll come back for it later. So what did we do with those 20 gold coins? While that man was in Paris, living his life, did we just keep those 20 gold coins idle, sitting in a vault, doing nothing? No. One day we held a meeting, brothers, me, our chief accountant, and someone said, wait a minute, this gold is sitting here. Nobody's using it. Why don't we use it? There was silence. But, said another, this is the man's money. We're responsible for protecting it. Yes, I said, but the man is in Paris. He won't come for 6 months. Why shouldn't this money work during those 6 months? And that's how it began. Another customer came, a nobleman from King Philip's court. I want to borrow 100 gold, he said. I'll return it as 105 gold in 3 months. We gave him the gold that the pilgrim had left. 3 months later, the nobleman came, gave 105 gold. We put 100 back into the pilgrim's account. We kept 5 gold as interest. The pilgrim came 6 months later, took his 100 gold. Happy his money was safe. The nobleman paid his debt. Happy he got his loan. We made 5 gold. Very happy. I don't know what they call it today, fractional reserve banking or something, but we were just thinking practically. In the 12th century, in Jerusalem, from the hands of 9 knights. But we didn't stop, we said. Why serve only pilgrims? There are kings, princes, wealthy merchants. They also want to transfer money. The Paris Temple became Europe's first central bank. We had 60 active accounts. Nobles, clergy, court members, they were all our customers. We offered services nobody else could provide. Safe deposit boxes, keep your valuables secure in our vaults. Retirement plans, deposit money regularly, withdraw in your old age. Credit facilities, grow your business, pay your debt later. Currency exchange, we operated in multiple countries, multiple currencies. International transfers, deposit in Paris, withdraw in Jerusalem, deposit in London, withdraw in Rome, and we charged interest. But fair interest, reasonable interest. Not the usurious rates of moneylenders, not the crushing debts that destroyed families. We operated ethically, according to Christian principles, and people trusted us, because we were monks. Men of God, sworn to poverty and honesty. All elements of modern banking, we invented them in our 12th century. The empire building a financial superpower, and we got rich. Disgustingly rich. Obscenely rich. We established 9,000 Templar castles and houses across Europe. In France, England, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Italy, everywhere. The island of Cyprus was entirely ours. The whole island. As much land as a kingdom. We had a huge fleet, more than 50 ships. The largest trading fleet in the Mediterranean. We transported goods, pilgrims, treasure, information. We lent to King Philip IV of France thousands of gold coins. We lent to King Henry III of England tens of thousands of gold. In fact, the temple in Paris served as the royal treasury of France. The French royal treasurers were all senior Templar officials. The French treasury was housed in our Paris temple, not in the king's palace, in our temple. We managed King Philip's personal expenditures. Every coin he spent went through our books. In England, Brother Geoffrey of the Knights Templar was appointed by Henry III to manage all his personal spending. The kings of Scotland, Ireland, Aragon, many popes, did the same at various times. We collected taxes for kings, the Saladin tax levied on every household in England to support the war in the Holy Land. We collected it. The popes entrusted us with collecting tithes, customs duties in Ireland, taxes across Europe, and when monarchs doubted their own servants' accounts, they asked us to audit them, because we were known for scrupulous honesty, combined with effective military might. Who would dare cheat us? Who would dare steal from us? We even lent to the Pope himself. Yes, the Pope, even God's representative on earth, was borrowing from us. We were no longer just knights, no longer just clergy. We were a financial empire, a shadow state, a power unto ourselves. Kings thought about us when making decisions. They asked, what will the Templars say? Even the Pope considered us when making policy. He checked, do we have their support? But that was the problem. We became too powerful, too rich, too influential. And history teaches you a cruel lesson. If you've lent to a king, and the king can't pay this debt, the king has two options. First option, he pays you his debt, acts honorably, keeps his word. Second option, he kills you. King Philip chose the second option. The fall, conspiracy, betrayal, and fire. The year 1307. France, King Philip IV. Nicknamed Philip the Fair, but that was only about his appearance, because inside was pitch black. Philip was drowning in debt. Crusades were expensive. His palace was expensive. His army was expensive. His lavish lifestyle was expensive. And our money never ran out. Every month borrowing. Every month paying interest. Every month sinking deeper. By 1307, he owed us so much money that repayment was politically impossible. A king in debt to a religious military order? Unacceptable. Humiliating. One night, sitting alone in his palace, an idea came to him. What if, he said to himself, I eliminate these Templars? He thought. The debt gets erased, and the first sees their property. Two birds with one stone. But there was a problem. We were under the Pope's protection. He couldn't attack us directly. So, he set up a conspiracy. He began pressuring Pope Clement V. Weak, indecisive, cowardly Pope Clement, and he found a witness. A disgraced Templar, Isque de Floyden, expelled from the order years earlier for misconduct, filled with bitterness and revenge. This man came to Philip with allegations. Terrible allegations. These Templars are heretics, he said. They're not true Christians. What are you saying? Said Philip, pretending surprise. They spit on the cross, said the witness. They deny Jesus. They practice homosexuality. They worship a devil called Baphomet. Philip took these allegations and embellished them, added details, made them more sensational. He compiled a list, 127 specific charges: denying Christ, desecrating the crucifix, idol worship, secret rituals, sexual depravity. None of it was true. Not a single word was true, but it didn't matter, because a conspiracy theory, when said loud enough, persistently enough, convincingly enough, doesn't have to be real. Philip began a propaganda campaign. Whispers in the court, rumors in the streets. I wonder if it's true, people said. Maybe they really are heretics, they said. Maybe they have secret rituals, they said. And the rumors spread from city to city, from village to village. Whispers about the Templars, gossip, fear. Pope Clement, poor weak Clement, couldn't withstand Philip's pressure. Philip had helped elect him. Philip controlled him. Philip threatened him. And one day, that terrible day, Clement decided he would allow the arrests. He would sacrifice the Templars to save his own position. October 13th, 1307, the operation. October 13th, 1307, Friday. History's most unlucky Friday. The origin of the Friday the 13th legend. On September 14th, Philip sent sealed orders to his officers across the kingdom. Sealed, stamped with his royal seal, with instructions, do not open until the night of October 12th. For an entire month, these sealed letters traveled across France, to every city, every province. Nobody knew what was inside. Nobody suspected what was coming. On the night of October 12th, as midnight approached, commanders across France opened their envelopes. They read the orders inside and froze. Arrest all Templars in your region. At dawn, simultaneously, every single one. The operation was perfect. A masterpiece of coordination. It had been planned for weeks. Secretly, quietly. Nobody knew anything. And on the morning of October 13th, as the sun rose, all across France simultaneously, doors were knocked on. Soldiers entered. You're under arrest. In Paris, Lyon, Marseille, Bordeaux, everywhere. Hundreds of knights knights, in one day, in one operation, including me. I was seized at the Paris temple, along with our treasurer and senior officers. We were kept in isolation, fed meager rations, bread and water, sometimes not even that. And then, the torture began. Inquisition, torture, from the dark corners of the human mind, the most brutal forms of sadism, the strapetto. Our hands were bound behind our backs. Then we were suspended by our wrists, hanging in the air, our body weight pulling on our shoulders, the joints dislocated, the pain beyond description. Some brothers had their hands tied so tightly that blood pooled in their fingertips. The rack victims were stretched out on a wooden frame, ankles and wrists bound to rollers. The rollers twisted slowly, applying excruciating tension until the joints snapped, until the bones broke. Fire, torture, they greased the soles of our feet with fat or butter, then placed us before the fire. A screen drawn back and forth to regulate the heat, the roasting, the burning, the smell of your own flesh cooking. Many went raving mad. The goal was simple, to extract confessions. Tell us, do you spit on the cross? Tell us, do you spit on the cross? Hours of torture, days of torture, weeks of torture. Yes. Do you worship the devil? No. Do you worship the devil? More torture, more pain, more agony. Yes, 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 I worship. Please stop. In Paris alone, 138 Templars were interrogated. Almost all eventually confessed. Under torture, under threat, under unbearable pain. They confessed to anything their torturers wanted, anything to make the pain stop. Some of my brothers couldn't endure. They broke. They confessed. They said everything Philip wanted to hear. Some resisted, tried to defend themselves, but Philip intervened in the courts, didn't allow the right to defense. They will remain silent, he said, and the courts convicted my brothers one by one. The Masons knew brotherhood, and now I'm going to get into a somewhat sensitive topic, Freemasonry. People ask, is there a connection between the Knights Templar and the Masons? Official answer, no. No historical evidence. Real answer, long silence, you decide. The year 1717, London. The first modern Masonic Grand Lodge is being founded. Who are the founders? Mysterious, wealthy, influential, but most importantly, they're not construction masters. These are speculative Masons, white-collar, elite interested in philosophy and symbolism. What are their symbols? Compass, square, ashlar, stone. So what were we doing? We were building castles. 9,000 castles. 9,000 castles. One of Europe's largest construction projects. What are the Masons' secrets? Secret rituals, gradual initiation, brotherhood oath, hierarchical order. What was our system? The same? Exactly the same. What's the Masons' goal? To enlighten the human mind, to improve society. What was our ideal? The same. Now I ask you, is this coincidence? In 1314, the Templars close. In 1717, the Masons open. There's a 400-year gap. But in early Masonic rituals, there's something called the Knights Templar degree. Knights Templar degree. Why? Because we died. But our idea couldn't be killed. Our brothers scattered, hid, took on new identities, and for centuries, silently, passed on the knowledge. They withdrew from the battlefield, put down the sword, but picked up the pen, picked up chalk, picked up the compass, but picked up the pen, picked up chalk, picked up the compass. We no longer build physical structures, they said. We now build intellectual structures, philosophical structures. Modern banking, our children now. Let's look at today, the year 2025. You're buying a coffee? You tap your credit card on the contactless device. What happens in 1 second? Your card sends information to the terminal. The terminal forwards the information to your bank. Your bank checks your account. Is the balance sufficient? If sufficient, it gives approval. Money goes to the seller's account, deducts from your account. This whole process takes less than 1 second. No physical money changes hands. Everything's digital. Everything's recorded. Everything's secure. Who created this system? Us. 800 years ago, in the dusty streets of Jerusalem. Now let's look at cryptocurrency. Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, decentralized finance. They say independence from banks. They say so. What's Bitcoin's basic principle? Trust. You trust a chain of code, a cryptographic system. What did we do? You trusted a document. You trusted my seal. Same principle. Recording every transaction is recorded on the blockchain. Nothing can be erased. What did we do? Every transaction recorded on parchment. Nothing could be changed. Digital transfer. Bitcoin isn't physical, it's digital. What did we do? We didn't physically transport gold. We transported paper. Crypto enthusiasts will get very angry at me, but Bitcoin isn't something new. Bitcoin is the digital version of our system. And yes, it's beautiful, impressive, technological, but not new. Central banks, the modern temple. Now we're getting to the most sensitive topic. Federal Reserve, European Central Bank, IMF, World Bank. What do these institutions do? They print money, not real money, digital money. Numbers increase on a computer. What were we doing? We issued letters of credit on top of gold deposits, basically creating money from nothing. They set interest rates. They control the economy. What were we doing? We set interest rates. We lent to kings. We controlled royal finances. They're independent from government. They don't answer to anyone. What did we do? We only answered to the Pope, not to kings, not to local authorities. Now I have a question for you. Who are the shareholders of the Federal Reserve? Private banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America. So who owns these banks? We don't know. Their ultimate ownership isn't fully public. So the most powerful financial institution is in the hands of people with partially unknown identities. Doesn't that sound familiar? We were like that too. Nobody knew who had how much power inside the order. Only the Grand Master was publicly known. The rest operated in the shadows. And the most ironic part, we were burned for not being transparent. But today, the system itself isn't transparent. The Rothschilds, New Templars, 18th century Frankfurt, a family in the Jewish ghetto, the Rothschilds. Meyer Amschel Rothschild has 5 sons, and he gives each one a city. Nathan goes to London, James goes to Paris, Salomon goes to Vienna, Karl goes to Naples. Amschel stays in Frankfurt, and the system is established. 5 brothers, 5 cities, 1 network. War breaks out in Paris. Nathan in London hears about it first, sells British bonds before news reaches London, makes money. Crisis breaks out in Vienna. James in Paris hears about it through the network, buys when gold price is low, makes money. Does this system sound familiar to you? We did the same thing. Castle in Paris, Castle in London, Castle in Jerusalem, Castle in Acre, Castle in Cyprus. Information network, fast communication, strategic coordination, carrier pigeons, coded messages, trusted couriers. We knew what was happening across Europe before kings did. The Rothschilds aren't enemies. Not a conspiracy theory, just they applied the same principle we pioneered. Network, information, trust, coordination. And today, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, HSBC, all the same model. Branch in every country. Global network, information flow. We planted the seed. They turned it into a tree. The curse of gold. Why did everyone fall? Throughout history, everyone who touched gold burned. King Midas, he touched gold. Was he happy? No. His daughter turned to gold. He died alone. Spain brought tons of gold from America. Did it get rich? No. The influx of gold caused massive inflation, destroyed the Spanish economy. We became the richest order in Christendom. Were we happy? No. We were burned alive. Gold has a curse, and this curse is based on a simple truth. Gold changes you. At first, you're an idealistic movement. We'll protect pilgrims. We'll serve God. We'll live in poverty. Then you get rich. Let's buy a castle. 2 castles. Let's buy an island. We need proper administration. Then you get richer. Let's lend to kings. Let's intervene in politics. We can shape the world. And one day you wake up, and you're no longer a knight. You've become a banker. You've lost your ideals. You've lost your soul. And the people see this. These are no longer God's soldiers. These are just rich bankers in white robes. That's when the system rejects you. Power and corruption. The inevitable end. Let me be honest with you. In the end, we became corrupt too. At the beginning we had taken a vow of poverty. We shared a single horse between 2 knights. 200 years later, we had palaces, we had mansions, gold plates, silk clothes, luxurious lives. Some of my brothers had become arrogant, spoiled. I'm a Templar, they said. Nobody can touch me. I answer only to the Pope. Some were having relations with women, violating our vow of celibacy. Some were playing political games. Let's support this king. Let's overthrow that king. We were no longer pure, and maybe Philip was partly right. The conspiracy theories were false. Yes, we didn't worship devils, we didn't deny Christ, but maybe we really had become too powerful, too influential, too wealthy. Maybe we really had lost our way. That's the real lesson. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. We had to learn this. In the flames, today's lessons, history repeats itself. Now let's look at today. The year 2025. Crypto exchanges are collapsing. FTX went bankrupt. Billions of dollars disappeared. CEO arrested. Banks are going bankrupt. Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. Deposits disappearing. People in panic. Hedge funds dealing with scandals. Insider trading, manipulation, corruption. History repeats itself. Friends, we were also honest and idealistic at the beginning. We'll protect pilgrims. We'll serve God. Then the system grew. Money increased. Power increased. And corruption began. Today, crypto companies are saying the same thing. We're different. We're decentralized. We believe in democracy. But as the system grows, the same problems repeat. Because the problem isn't in the system. The problem is in humans. When humans find power, they become corrupt, inevitable. The Swiss secret, why did they never fight? Now let me ask you a question. A strange question. Switzerland, a small country in the middle of Europe, surrounded by France, Germany, Italy, Austria. For centuries there have been wars. Napoleon, World War I, World War II. But Switzerland never entered war, remained neutral. Why? Official answer, neutrality policy. Peace-loving nation. Real answer, because Switzerland was Europe's bank. Did Hitler want to invade Switzerland? Of course, but he couldn't, because the Nazis' gold was in Swiss banks. Did the Allies want to bomb Switzerland? Of course. But they couldn't, because their money was also in Swiss banks. Do you see? Money is a stronger shield than weapons. We discovered this 800 years ago. Switzerland has been applying this for 500 years. If everyone's money is in your vault, nobody attacks you, because if they attack, they lose their own money. That's the real power of money. Not physical, strategic. The final truth. What really matters. So let me tell you the final truth. The truth they don't want you to know. Money isn't real. Think about it. Really think about it. Gold. It's just a shiny rock. Why is it valuable? Because we agreed it's valuable. Paper money. It's just printed paper. Why can you buy bread with it? Because we agreed you can. Bitcoin. It's just computer code. Why is it worth tens of thousands? Because we agreed it is. Money. All money. Every form of money throughout history is based on one thing: agreement, belief, trust. When people trust the system, money works. When people lose trust, money becomes worthless. We understood this 800 years ago in Jerusalem. That's why we didn't just protect gold. We protected trust. That's why we didn't just build castles. We built credibility. That's why we didn't just serve kings. We became the system itself. And when the trust broke, when Philip turned people against us, when the conspiracy theories spread, our money became worthless. Our power disappeared. Not because we ran out of gold. We had plenty of gold. But because we ran out of trust. The warning to those who listen: now I'm burning. The flames are reaching my chest. Soon they'll reach my face. But before I go, let me give you a warning. To the bankers of today, to the tech billionaires, to the crypto founders, to everyone who thinks they've outsmarted the system. You haven't. You're just playing the same game we played. You're building the same empire we built. You're making the same mistakes we made. You think you're different. You're not. You think you're smarter. You're not. You think your system is better. It's not. Because the problem isn't in the system. The problem is in human nature. Greed, power, corruption, these things, they're inevitable. You can build the most perfect system, the most decentralized network, the most transparent blockchain. That's the curse we couldn't escape, and you won't escape it either. Unless you learn from our mistake. The lesson, if you're willing to learn, what's the lesson? It's simple, but hard to apply. Never forget why you started. We started to protect pilgrims. That was our purpose. That was our soul. But we forgot. We got distracted by wealth, by power, by influence, and when we forgot our purpose, we lost everything. So ask yourself, why did you start? If you're a banker, why did you enter finance? To help people, or to get rich? If you're a founder, why did you create your company? To solve a problem, or to build an empire? If you're an investor, why are you investing? To create value, or to extract wealth? The answer, the honest answer, will determine your fate. Stay true to your purpose, and you might survive. Forget your purpose, and you'll burn like we did. The paradox, our immortal death. The flames are at my neck now. Soon, very soon, I'll be gone. But here's the beautiful paradox. I'm dying, but I'm not disappearing. My body will turn to ash. My name will fade from memory. My empire will crumble to dust. But my idea, my system, my invention, it's everywhere. Every time you swipe your card, that's me. Every time you send a wire transfer, that's me. Every time you check your bank balance, that's me. I'm in every ATM, in every stock exchange, in every central bank, in every crypto wallet. I'm not a man anymore. I'm a concept. I'm a principle. I'm a system. And concepts, principles, systems, they can't be killed. They can't be burned. They can't be destroyed. They evolve. They adapt. They survive. So yes, kill me, burn me, destroy my order. But you're using my system. You're living in my world. You're playing by my rules. I died, but I won. The last breath, the flames are at my face now, I can barely speak. The smoke is filling my lungs. But I have one last thing to say. To you? Yes, you. Listening to this story in 2025, lying in your bed, phone in your hand, comfortable, safe, you think you're free? You're not. You're part of the system. The same system we built. The same system that killed us. Every debt you have, that's our invention. Every credit card you swipe, that's our legacy. Every interest payment you make, that's our ghost. Collecting, you can't escape. Nobody can. Because money, modern money, is the Templar legacy. We built the cage, and everyone's living in it. So the next time you check your bank account, the next time you pay with your card, the next time you worry about money, remember me, Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master, burned alive in 1314, but immortal in the system. And now the flames have reached my eyes. I can't see anymore. I can only feel the heat, the pain, the end. But I'm smiling, because I know. They killed the man, but they're using his system. They destroyed the order, but they're following his rules. They won the battle, but we won the war. Remember this story. Remember the lesson. And remember, the real treasure isn't gold, it's the system itself. And so, our story ends. But history never truly ends. It just changes form, changes names, changes faces. The Templars are gone, but their legacy lives on. In every transaction, in every bank, in every financial system. I hope this story gave you something to think about, something to dream about, as you drift off to sleep tonight. Remember, the world is more connected than you think. The past is more present than you realize. And sometimes, the greatest treasures aren't found in vaults or buried on islands. They're found in ideas, in systems, in the invisible threads that connect us all. Sleep well, sleepless history friend. Goodbye. May your dreams be filled with mystery, wonder, and perhaps a little bit of medieval intrigue. Until next time, good night.